Today we are going to talk about the day that you became a new person, a day that you were changed forever. So the day I'm talking about is the day that you were baptized, your baptism day. You were changed forever. And so what is baptism? So baptism is the very first sacrament that welcomes you into the church. And just like when you were born into a family. You became part of a family when you were born. And when you are baptized, you become part of God's family. You're born again into God's family. And when you become part of God's family, that means that you are a son or a daughter of God. You're a child of God, and He becomes your Father. And at your baptism, God sends His Spirit to live inside your heart, and He marks you with His seal, saying that you are His forever. And so it's important to remember that at your baptism, God marks you as His son or His daughter. And you become family with all the other Christians who have been baptized in the name of the Blessed Trinity. So that's a huge family that you're born into at your baptism. And another really amazing thing that happens at your baptism is you get a present. So God, your new Father, gives you a gift called grace. Grace. And do you remember grace? We talked a little bit about it. Miss Allison, when she was teaching us about the Hail Mary prayer, she said that Mary was full of grace. And she said that that meant that God's life was within Mary. It filled her. And at your baptism, God puts grace into you, and you are filled with God's own life within you. And this grace, it is powerful stuff. Grace can help you to become a bright image of God. It can help you become the person that God created you to be. And it even helps us to go on mission and to bring other people to join God's family. So grace is powerful. So God gives us that grace at baptism. And He also takes something away. He takes away original sin. Original sin is kind of like a stain on our souls. And at baptism, God wipes away that stain and He makes us completely clean. So at baptism, we become part of God's family, and we get the gift of grace, and original sin is wiped away. So what does a baptism look like? Maybe some of you have little brothers or sisters who are baptized. So usually, in our church, it's usually a baby who is baptized, but grown-ups can be baptized too. Anybody can get baptized. I brought a baby today. Okay, and usually the baby cannot bring itself to church, so the parents and the godparents bring the baby to the church. The parents, the mom and dad, and the godparents are people who really have promised to help the baby to be more like Jesus. So the parents and godparents, they bring the baby to church, and the baby's dressed all in white. And the white helps us remember that God is going to wipe us clean at our baptism and take away that stain of original sin. And if you remember when we watched Father Fred, when he was putting on his vestments, you remember that video where he first put on that big long white alb? That's to remind him of his baptism gown, just like when he was a baby. So they wear white, and at the baptism, the priest touches the baby's ears so that the baby can hear Jesus. And the priest touches the baby's mouth so that the baby can pray to Jesus. And the priest also takes holy oil that's been blessed by the bishop, and they rub oil on the baby's head and on the baby's chest, okay, and they say special prayers. And then they take water, they take holy water that's been blessed, and they're going to pour it on the baby's head. So the priest is kind of washing the baby's body, but at the same time, God is washing the baby's soul clean at baptism. And so the priest will scoop up some water, and with the words he will say, I baptize you in the name of the Father, pour water, and in the name of the Son, and in the name of the Holy Spirit. So we're baptized in the Trinity. And at that moment that we're baptized, then God's life, that grace comes rushing into us, okay? And then at the end, they also will light a candle at the baptism. They'll light it from the Easter candle, and they'll give that to the parents and godparents to help them remember that Jesus is the light of our lives. So I hope that you maybe will talk to your mom and dad about what your baptism day was like and how special it was, because it was a day that you were changed forever.